Hey everybody, welcome. This is for LIBRA June 2020, and I'm so excited to be reading for you today because I've been inundated with messages all morning actually. So I feel like this is going to be very impactful. And again, my guides have been sort of sharing a ton of different things that I can't wait to get started on. So quick hello here from Apollo, and let's get started since there's so much to do. I'd like to properly introduce myself in case you're brand new. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and if you're a returning viewer, I also want to welcome you back. I wouldn't be here without your love and support, so thanks for continuing to show up. For the new folks, just a quick note that this can be used for sun, rising, as well as moon sign, and of course you can watch on behalf of someone else. It is for the month of June 2020, but if you happen to be watching it a few weeks earlier, since I broadcast before the month that it occurs. When we look at the deep past and the past, there's actually going to be some relevant information. So no matter when you watch this, it's actually going to be some of assistance to you and hopefully insightful. Now, everything, like I said, can be used for sun, rising, and moon. And the way that it's organized is as follows. I like to start off with channeled information. This really focuses on psychic intuition alone without the aid of the cards. Then I pull in the Celtic Cross to look at high points, any potential blocks, and all of the opportunities in between. The reason that I do show up a little bit earlier with these forecasts is because I'm a big proponent of free will and preparation. So that's really what this allows you to do. So after that, we like to look at an expanded forecast, health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then in the latter portion, we focus more on what you can do with your soul. And healing has been the general sort of area of focus this month. With your sign, as I was looking at the different messages, it seems like there's a common theme this month about release. So we'll get into that in a second. And then we'll do a meditation at the very end to kind of bring everything together and do some integration. I've already seen a few super chats, so I just want to say thanks to anybody that's done that. And if you're curious what it is, how to use it, it's this little icon right here, $ right next to the emoji. And it helps me continue to buy new supplies, upgrade my equipment, and just show up here. So thank you. If you guys want to send a sticker, a unicorn, or just some gratitude, it really does make a difference and it cheers me up. So thank you for doing that. I'll put a little thank you once the video is also on replay. But in the meantime, I usually don't interrupt the flow. And as such, I don't do Q&A or pick a card. So this is general, but there'll be a lot of information. We'll be here for about an hour, and all those different parts are going to give you, I think, more than enough for right now and also the month ahead, like I was saying. Special thanks to my two moderators, Ryan and Maria, for keeping everything organized today. I appreciate your help. And at the very end, we'll get into some more information on how you can find me on social media, give back, book an appointment, stuff like that. But right here and right now, let's go ahead and talk about what I was seeing this morning. So normally before every reading, I'll meditate for at least half an hour, but sometimes more, depending on how much time I have and how much I feel like the sign sort of needs when it comes to kind of tuning in. For your sign, I was awakened way beyond the timing of the reading. So starting around 1 a.m. this morning, I was starting to get messages for you. And then every couple hours, I was getting additional ones. So when I was getting these messages, I tapped them into my phone real quick. This morning, I transcribed them, and I'm going to share what I received here. So let me talk about the imagery for the first download. And what I saw for this was, it was a metaphor. It was kind of like I was looking in a warehouse or a storage facility where all my memories were kept. And there was a message from the universe that you had, like they were telling me for you, for the sign, like there's a need right now to sort of like tidy up, to clear some of this out. And when I was looking at what mattered there, I saw a lot of material things, and I thought there's no way I can take all of this with me. And I called in some assistance, help from like real life guides, and also from friends in my life. And what I realized is I didn't care so much about what was in the facility. And I was more touched by the fact that people came in to assist me. And I realized then, I mean, it's something we always know, but this is the message for the sign, which is first and foremost, material objects, your house, your clothing, even things like titles, money, association, all these things, they're nice, but they do not matter as much as the real life connections that you make in this life. I was paying more attention to who was around me and that they were taking care of me in that moment. So I wrote down material acquisition it's not equal to, or definitely is not greater than, love, memories, and relationships that you care about in your life. And in fact, there may come a point where stuff, for lack of a better term, material sort of goods, can overwhelm, cloud out, or sometimes even obstruct you from seeing what matters. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of these things, especially for those of you that might be in the process of moving on, maybe an old relationship or someone who has passed from your life, and you're kind of responsible for taking care of all that stuff and figuring out what's next. One of the key things to remember is if you give something away, it doesn't mean that you somehow have lost that person, or if you've had a fire or something destroyed or taken away from you, or repossessed or anything like that. It doesn't mean that you still haven't accomplished something, that you still haven't had a connection with someone. It's basically showing how, without worth or even sort of symbolism, some of the material things are. When we die, the energy in our heart, the energy in our soul, the knowledge that we've gained, that gets uploaded. Everything else stays here. So you are more than the things around you. You are more than the title attached to your name or the letters attached to your name because of schooling or education or lack thereof. So this was really a sign from the guides to go deep and only focus on what matters. And if we were to pick a card in tarot, it would be the Fool, right? Because all the Fool carries with him or her is a knapsack. Everything that the Fool needs is right there in that, like basically traveling lightly, because you begin your journey very unencumbered and you end the journey the same way. So all the stuff in between, it's not going to go with you. So don't worry so much about it, was the message that I got there. And it's an important one right now because we're at a place where some of us are being forced to look at, can I afford to live in this house, this apartment, this style of living? Should I downgrade? And even if you have the opportunity to upgrade, do you need to upgrade as much as you think you do? It's just kind of keeping it real with what your heart and soul needs, okay? Looking at the next piece is releasing that baggage, focusing on who's with you in this journey. And this has a few different levels of meaning. For some of you, this is reminding you that riches can be counted in the company that you keep. So if you have, 2 or 3 really close friend or family members in your life and you just feel supported, you don't need to have a big paycheck, a big house, or a lot of, like followers on a social media platform. It's basically saying the value is what you place in these relationships and yourself. And some of you may be at a point where it's time to let go of some old relationships, some old things in your life so that you can attract and create and move on to something that has a little bit more depth to it. The next thing that I'm looking at here was, speaking of moving on, I saw a torch that was being passed along from one hand to another. And I think that we're all being challenged in this moment in time to leave the world a better place for ourselves, for our children, for just for the world in general. In my meditation, I was being pulled through like the ecosystems of the planet. So marshes and like some of the waters, especially the water actually is what I was seeing, like oceans, marshes, and I forget what you call the sort of water that flows beneath the surface, but all of those different levels of water. And I was looking at the negative effects of what we had done, and then also the positive effects of what's happening during this sort of slowdown where we're not kind of bombarding the planet with as much pollution and negativity. And I felt the energy of healing coming through, which was an encouragement, like we can do better, we can help. And then the last thing that I was looking at was interaction on the planet between people. And I feel like we're at a place right now where emotions are running high because of frustration, because of fear, because of aggravation. With all the stuff that's going on, we're being told what we can do, what we can't do. And I was paying attention to some of the friction that was happening. My guides reminded me to pass on this message. You want to embody and exude the energies of kindness and patience, because you never know what other people are going through. And as a positive sort of benefit of this, if you kind of approach them with that sort of kindness and patience, they're more likely to do the same. They're more likely to reciprocate that energy towards you. And also, you're showing them that it's okay, that they don't have to panic. So basically, you illustrating and demonstrating what you want and how you can be can inspire people around you. So there was a lot of messages about release, projecting positivity, even when you're not receiving it or seeing it. And then also thinking of the long term, leaving this a better place, looking beyond the here and the now, looking 5 years, 10 years, because, and I think this would change the entire approach towards recycling, sustainability, environmentalism. I believe in reincarnation. What we do now affects us every time we choose to come back to this planet. So if we realize that this was our home for a while, we would treat it a lot better. The same way you're not going to sort of beat up your own house if you have to live there for 30 or 40 years. So, multiply that by many, many centuries or many, many millennia. And it's a message that we need to sort of start focusing on the greater good, being kind to one another and being kind to ourselves. So wherever you're at right now, it's okay. And I think start to measure your wealth and your health and your happiness by the people that are in your life, what you've done to kind of improve upon your own soul. And if you're doing well in those categories, you're rich and you're successful. Okay. So let's go ahead now and move along to the messages that are going to come through with the cards. I like to remain quiet at this point so that I can see how this is all coming together. But afterwards, I'll pull up each and every card and we'll break it down for the month ahead. Okay. Thank you so much. And I will be right back. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient. And let's work through the messages here. The first one we have is, it says, celebrate your magnificence, and we have the reward here. And I think one thing that's important as you're going through everything this month and this year is to start to take time to celebrate the little things in life, the little victories. So whether that's the fact that, if you've decided to work on something, and I see that energy, I'm fast forwarding a little bit. But if you've set a goal and you're deciding, I want to eat healthier, I want to learn more about this, or maybe I want to finish high school, whatever it is that you're trying to kind of create in your life, as you start to go through these moments in time, celebrate them and know that the reward was not so much, it's important that we talked about this sort of material acquisition. I would also say like social adulation is part of that too. Even in the absence of all of that stuff and all of those people, the reward was the journey. The reward was the completion of that journey. The reward was not necessarily having to have people around you applaud or having you walk on a stage or all of that. And it's hard this year because we're really going through a period in time where celebrations are missing, right? Major holidays, not necessarily going to be celebrating them in mass. Events like weddings, funerals, graduation, any sort of normal thing that would happen where we would, even a baby shower or a reunion, they're not happening. So what we have to do is look beyond the groupings and beyond that sort of, sort of ritual that we had in the past and create new things in our life and celebrate it and think, well, it's still rewarding. I still did it. And there'll be time to celebrate with other people in the future. So the reward is the accomplishment. It is the journey. It is who you are and what you take with you, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. So have some fun, enjoy it, celebrate it, and find a new way to bring some sort of a celebration and appreciation for what you're doing. It's only worthless if you decide it is. It's only sad or bad if you assign that value to it. So try to be in that frequency of joy, of celebration, of love. You earned it, you deserve it. And every little day and thing, there's something that you can celebrate and have gratitude for. It could simply be, for those of you that might be thinking like, I can't do that, my life is not where it needs to be. Take a moment and think, can you breathe right now? There's a lot of people on the planet that require assistance. Can you walk? Not everybody can. Can you feed yourself? Not everyone can. Can you also do basic things like, go to the bathroom alone? Some people can't. These are small things. And if you are even someone who has help in that, the fact that you have help is something that you can be grateful for. So there's always a level of gratitude, life in and of itself. So find the little things, build out from there. And especially for those of you that amidst all of this change have been able to get a new job or get a raise or graduate or find love or buy a house. Anything like that is extraordinary right now. So a big congratulations to all of you. And, belated happy birthdays, happy anniversaries, all of that stuff that's going on for you. For those of you that might be watching for like rising or ascending, not so much your star sign. But just know that it's okay. And that's the important thing. Okay. The journey and the accomplishment, not so much the adulation, not so much everybody clapping their hands. So at the center here, we have King of Cups. And this is really what we were just talking about, getting into the energy of joy, of creativity, allowing that to flow through you, knowing that when you're in that space of happiness, then you're unstoppable, Libra. And also, this is showing me that if you can get there, you might be also attracting someone else in your life that's in that frequency as well. Crossing this card is the Six of Swords. So I know a lot of you are feeling separated from, distant from the people that you love in your life. And that message comes through really loud and clear with these two, because this is love, joy, emotional happiness. This is feeling, how am I going to get back to that? How can I connect with people? And trying to sort of find a way to remedy or sort that out, which you will, which you can. It's just different. So different is the new normal, I would sort of say. With the Six of Swords, there's also an ability to connect with people from other parts of the world. So if you are an artist, and many of you are, Libra, I know that because it's one of the best signs for kind of connecting with the field of creativity. So if you have a project that you are really feeling passionate about, even though, or maybe especially because we're in this period of separation, distancing, people need something that they can relate to. This is a card of distribution. There are a few distributing cards that I can see in tarot. One of them is Six of Swords. A stronger one is the World card. But nonetheless, Six of Swords can show that this is going to be delivered across the world. It just may take time to catch on, but I do think that there's a chance for you to be successful with your creative project if you have one. It's saying to set your sights for whatever it is that makes your heart sort of skip a beat beyond the immediate space around you. So other states, other provinces, other countries across the world. It's that global sort of energy that I was even picking up on, at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock this morning as all my different visions were coming to me. So go global, whatever you do, go big, go global, and reach out because you have to right now. And of course, this is one of the quintessential cards of like telecommuting, as is the Ten of Wands. So a lot of you are teleworking right now, and your work can find new ways to be distributed through the different digital and non-traditional mediums out there. So we have here the Hanged Man in the deep past. So that's where a lot of you are if you're watching this live, or you've been feeling that over the course of the previous month. If you're watching this during the month of June, the message here is that everything that you've been sort of pausing on has been there so that you could collect your thoughts, collect your life. The Hanged Man is never as bad as it feels. It's just sort of a required period where you have to sort of figure out who you are and what you want so that you don't rush forward and make a misstep. It's the universe pulling the reins a little bit and saying, not yet. There's something better, or the timing's off a little bit. What you can do to remedy this is to listen. I mean, I actually like that you can see the energy of taking in information with the Page of Wands. The suit of Wands in particular is great for ideation and creative sort of brainstorming, thinking about things. But what you might want to do during this period of time is to get inspired. So for those of you that are musicians, it would be listening to other artists that are doing something that makes you feel like, yeah, this is why I started to study music. If you're a painter or a writer or cinematographer, you may not be able to do your art right now because everything's shut down, but you can consume and you can get inspired, or you could, create the underpinnings for things so that once the industries open up again, you have something to offer. And ultimately, with the Empress in the crowning position, that's what it's saying. You're more in charge than you think. And she's kind of encouraging you to look at the longer term. It's a very management-oriented card. For some of you too, this is a chance for you to move on. So this can be giving notice. This can be quitting. This can be also having no choice in the matter. So being laid off, furloughed, or just underemployed to the point that you think, I got to try something else. So taking matters into your own hands and perhaps starting your own business, or getting involved with other people that can kind of start a small company with you. This is something that you can look at. Either way, really what it's saying is I'm in charge now. Finding a way to be in charge, at least of what's coming next, I think is going to be really, really important. It's also a mother card or a father card. So if you're looking to start a family, I think the Empress has been coming up for the past 2 or 3 months in many, many signs. So this is a time where we're looking at our domestic situation and sorting it out a bit. So how do I feel about my existing family? Do I want to start a family? And also realizing that you have a lot of, it's just a fertility card. So whatever you decide to put your energy into, there's a return on it. And we're going to fast forward to the final card, and then I'll continue kind of working through it, which is 8 of Pentacles. I like that we see the builder quality to this. This is a card of learning, mastering, but not having mastered, and then building something that you really care about. The 3 of Pentacles, even though it's way back, numerically, it actually shows the mastery card. So this is usually when you're seeking out maybe training or mentorship. Some of you we can flip it around and say also that you might be teaching. So finding a new way to impart your skills. A lot of my friends and peers, they're not necessarily teaching in the traditional sense, but when I'm looking at healers, people that even work with exercise and meditation, they've all gone virtual right now. So you can still do what you're doing, but trying it in a different sort of medium. And that's what we're seeing here. So kind of think outside of the box. There's new ways to do things right now. That's what we see with the next card. The Queen of Wands is a manager. And when she's reversed, it's like, what do I manage if I'm stuck at home? Or how do I do this if I've always been trained? If I went to school and I worked for 10 years and this is what I thought it was supposed to be. Well, this is a time for a paradigm shift. Everything that we knew just kind of got exploded or imploded. And now we have to figure out better ways to do it. That's one of the cool things that comes out of periods of crisis or war or tragedy, is that we can come together. And if we exude those qualities that my guides were really hoping that we could, kindness and patience, I would add innovation to this, then we can come up with some cool things. During the Cold War, some great technology came about during the space race, and we're still using all of that today. And, so sometimes difficult periods can create positive sort of results or technologies or survival techniques. And so I think there's a lot of that right now that we can do. All right, this is your time to be the channel here. We have the Magician. To me, this is the quintessential card that shows a connection between sky and earth. You only have to be open to the possibilities in order to harness the energy. So maybe you, like me, have found yourself waking up a lot during the night. Sometimes I can feel the energy coursing through my body, the energy of change, of creativity, healing energy, healing hands. Sometimes I'm just awakened because today I was seeing stuff for the sign of Libra and the world in general. It's the first time in a while that I've actually been taken on a trip around the planet in a meditation, going through the different ecosystems, seeing what was destroyed and what was possible to be healed as well. So there's a lot of energy going around this planet right now. Because you're so creative, because you're so attuned to that, if you can just kind of slow down and listen, you'll get some whispers of insight that will come through. So it doesn't matter how creative you are. Let's say you're more of a traditional business person. Maybe you work in banking, or maybe you have an MBA, or maybe you're in medicine. Whatever it is, there'll be a more sort of subtle version of this, but you may get an epiphany or a big idea on something that you should or could be focusing on. That's that sort of energetic flow coming through. The magician was upright, so I would say to just stay successful on this, focus and feed that idea. Give yourself a chance to really go all into that energy, okay? When we look in the environment, we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. This, to me, is actually about transparency, illumination, and discovery. The upright version of this is feeling like I'm trapped, I can't do it, and I don't know what's coming next. As you ease into this, because we've been stuck for a while in the same state, we're starting to realize, all right, this is how it is, and starting to understand how to get out of it and how to kind of create new things. The blindfolds are off rather. I was going to say blinders. And now it's a chance for you to kind of look to the left, to the right, behind you, and think, how did we get here? What next? And on a bigger sort of level, what do I want to do again? And I think every now and then in our life, we have something pop up. Maybe it is a death of a loved one. It could be a breakup. It could be even just like a material loss, loss of a house or something like that. And it really sort of shakes you to your foundation. How do I get through this? And we discover in that process that we have more strength, more metal, more ability to kind of recreate ourselves, reforge ourselves than we ever imagined. That's what's coming through for your sign this month. You're not stuck. That was the past. You are creative, a creator. You are connected to the divine. The question is, are you ready and willing to kind of step into that energy and that light? It can be scary, right? If you are, then other people may and probably will be inspired by your story in the long run. The Hierophant is a leadership card. You've got quite a few leadership cards here today. The Empress, the Hierophant, and the Queen of Wands. And this was something I was seeing in the sign I read for the other day. And actually, for a few signs this month, there's been a call to action, right? Call to leadership. And with these two, it's also kind of like about breaking down existing structures, because this is like saying not how it was. This is a very traditional card. This is saying be open-minded, bring in something new, a fresh perspective. So this is a time for innovation, for creativity, for risk-taking, and for working on things that you care about. Don't be afraid to revise. Don't be afraid to revisit. Your story's not done. This isn't the last page. You haven't typed the end yet. In many cases, you're just at the beginning, or this is a new book. It's a new idea. So put the old thing away, try it again, try something new. If you are a writer, the Eight of Pentacles is a good card for that as well. Again, a lot of times with the Three of Pentacles or the Eight of Pentacles, I see like studying, learning, writing, editing, moving that forward. So some of you might be in the process of looking at a contract even. So if that's the case, there's a little bit of work to be done. It's not finished, it's not cooked. The Eight of Pentacles shows more work to be done, but you're on the right path, okay? Looking now at the expanded forecast, we're gonna look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. First, I'm gonna take a quick sip of tea, and then we're gonna move forward. I have your mug today as well. All right, so the message here is the presence of love will always cast out fear. This card is a reverse. We see a big moon here, and what I'm seeing here is to try to step into the feeling that if I know who I am, if I love what I'm doing, if I feel like I'm surrounded by love, I don't really have anything to be afraid of, because I'm supported, because this is something that I care about, and it's okay. Love can also help you with people in your life that are in a darker frequency or a lower frequency. I had a Reiki teacher once that reminded me that whoever and whatever was in my life that was causing me pain or discomfort at the time, she said, look at yourself. Somehow you attracted, called in, or allowed that to happen. So realize that that was a lesson that you brought in, just like we see with the Eight of Pentacles. If you can love the lesson, maybe not the person or the situation, and realize I won't repeat it, that energy is freed to do something else, even to elevate. So it's not my job to judge myself or that person. It's my job to focus on thinking, how can I be better? And then be kind to myself. That's where the love comes in. Looking at other aspects of your health, as I kind of scan through this, with so many court cards or king and queen cards here with the Empress, the Hierophant, and the Queen of Wands, I see it for all of us, and it's been coming up consistently. Make sure that you're taking breaks and stretching. Especially, I feel like many of you with like lower back, hips, even like, right around your buttock, the low spine, it's just getting too much compression. So stretch out a little bit. If you have any sort of pre-existing health issues, obviously talk to your doctor. But I think for the rest of us, for most of us, just stretching and walking is going to add a lot of benefit and overall health. It's also going to open up the channel. So notice how the magician is standing, is stretching, is reaching out. So I think it's important for you to open up the energy in your body by practicing yoga and breathing, by standing, by stretching, and then symbolically also doing a little bit of a reach when it comes to your goals and your aspirations in your life. Overall, pretty good things that I'm seeing here. Eight of Pentacles can also just show when we're looking at what you're eating, just to make sure that there's enough variety and protein as well. Another message I've been seeing a lot of. Let's move along now to, we looked at health, let's look at wealth. And easy does it is the message here. It says, there's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. That's what the Hanged Man is all about. Sometimes you can't get out of this energy. I have very, very stubborn guides. So if I have something that I want to do, sometimes they make me wait like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, because the timing's not right. And I can try to force it through however I want to, and I'll just keep getting like blocks or rejections. So I've learned to sort of, when that happens, I have to think, wait, is there something that I need to fix? Because there's no way it should be blocked this much. So I want you to kind of look at the same thing in your life. Is there something that you've been trying, and it seems like every angle you've been blocked at it? Maybe it's a job you really wanted to go for, and do a little more research in the company. Is it the right fit? Maybe you've been applying to one school and you can't get accepted. There may be a better match for you. And it's not that you're a failure. It's not that you can't do something right. It's that the universe has a sort of grander plan for you. So open yourself up to something even better. And then what I'll do during these situations is just like say, slap me in the third eye with a symbol that I can really see. Show me without a shadow of a doubt that that's what I was supposed to be doing. So ask for a very clear, don't say slap me in the third eye. Say, show me, I'm just being sort of illustrative here. Just say, show me without a shadow of a doubt how I should do this. Make it clear to me. And I feel like some of you could have an epiphany or a breakthrough. Don't be afraid to read up, to listen to things. So listening to podcasts, reading books, research. This is a month for research. You could discover something through trying something different, stepping out of your comfort zone. I like that your one and only resource card is Eight of Pentacles. That, to me, shows me the ability to bring more abundance into your life. It also shows me that you've done the requisite skills to be able to be successful. You don't have cards of lack or loss this month, just one that shows that there might be a better way or some research that you could do to be more resourceful. Easy does it again, not going all in. So I think that, this can be a card where you really want to just like take control and do it all. Be gentle with your body, be gentle with your time, and make sure that you have enough sort of energy of your own to be able to give more to the world. Sorry, there's a car passing by outside. I recently watched the final chapter in the Star Wars trilogy. I'm not giving away any spoilers. I'm just going to say one thing that I noticed that was interesting, maybe a little bit off. The character Rey, she was a healer in that final chapter. She was able to harness her energy and give it to others, but she should have been channeling the Force energy. And we saw a few examples in that of how that could exhaust people. And so I think there's a good message there. And I'm not quite sure why the writers chose to have her go give her own energy to certain things to heal it. You can, through Reiki, through channeling the divine energy, actually open yourself up as a channel and be able to put energy into things without exhausting yourself. There's still a price, there's still a cost. When I do these readings, just a fun fact, I usually have to take a nap in the afternoon for about an hour. It's a lot of energy to be able to hold this space, bring everything through focus, and get all of this done. So even when I'm pulling cosmic energy through, it still takes a toll on me. When I do sessions for people, I can only do a couple days a week because it's too much. So take time, and that's another message that we're seeing here. Know your limits. I've learned mine. And I also think that you don't want to give too much. And that was something that I saw in Star Wars that bothered me a little bit, which was Rey shouldn't be she was trading her life for another's. And that was, from a healing perspective, not smart. You should be a channel for the universal flow of energy. So whatever. I'm not the writer for that series, but the message came through and the image came through. And there's probably a reason that I was drawn to watch it the other day before I read for your sign. Okay. Looking now at love, relationships in your life. This is what we were talking about a little bit here. Okay, so this is a beautiful card. So the tree for me is a grounding sign, but look at all of the energy kind of reaching upward here from this. And then also it feels like there's either like something ancestral or something that this person is releasing. So know that in order to allow things to happen sometimes, especially if we're going to be calling in angels and guides, they do need our permission to interact in a sort of noticeable way. We always have protection. We always have guides. God is always present. God is a creative force, not a he or she. It's an it. It's something that works through us all. So that energy is always with us. But in order to really have something happen, not only is it okay, but it's desirable sometimes to say, please come through and show me, or I'm ready now to receive this. Because then you're directing that flow of energy a little bit. So when you do that, you're reaching up, you're going to be able to pull that through. What I'm seeing here for some of you is a need to either, you could be breathing life into a new version of yourself. You could also be releasing some ancestral or even like from this life, any sort of ghosts from the past. So are you feeling the sense of being haunted by a moment in your life? You know, we talk about homes being haunted. People can be haunted too. Haunted by the memory of an ex, by, you know, the memory of someone who has passed, a parent or a loved one, haunted by their own hopes and fears that sometimes never get fully realized. So this month, what if you released that spirit and that energy and started to harness the creative flow and put it into something that you care about? I feel like it's basically showing you the necessity to focus less on others' energy, focus more on yours, and that's going to be the key. You know, if you're looking for love this month, we have two cards of the same suit, which I see as an indication of being able to pull someone in. But we also have a card in the middle. So, you know, the center card, which ostensibly can just be what your energy is, which is saying you're ready for love. That's good. So if we take that out of the equation, the two other cards show a big sort of delta or difference between maturity. A page and a queen, there's a little bit of growth to happen there. So if you're calling in a relationship this month, particularly when it comes to like mental maturity, the fact that it's wands, it can just be more symbolic. So you could be dating a partner this month, or with a partner, or married to someone, or working with someone. Partnerships take many forms. The main message here is maturity and needing to maybe distance yourself from someone who doesn't have the maturity that you need. There could also be a third party coming in. So we have two wands and a cups card here. And the cups card is more in the right age and maturity sort of range that you might be looking for. So what we're seeing here is by releasing one person, someone else can step in. There might also be someone stepping in that's trying to create a discord. I think this month, sort out who you are and what you want and try to push away the ghosts of these other people or the energetic imprints of these other people. That the three people in your life could also be, it could be someone from the past and someone from the present. So I just feel like clearing out people's energies is going to be important. So in this sort of period of time where we can't be physically so close, that's actually a benefit. That's the universe saying, who are you in this equation? Why are you so focused on these two energies? If you feel really good and that this isn't present in your life right now, what I would say with this is, as you become that magician energy and ground yourself, you can breathe life into something that you want. So the reason I'm focusing on clearing is so that you can clearly become something that you want to be. Sometimes other people's hopes, fears, and dreams get in the way of us knowing who we are and being able to do just that. All right, the final card speaks volumes here. A message from Ascended Master Jesus here. It says, forgiveness, you're on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time. I would extend it and just say parental healing is available because we have an Empress card. And if you're in a non-traditional family where you have 2 moms or 2 dads, that's probably why I'm getting kind of mixed messages. Let's just focus on loving yourself and loving those that you look up to, and releasing, in some cases, their failures or their inability to be able to do things. Our parents are just grown-up kids, right? I don't know at what point in my life, like, I think it was probably when I hit the age that my parents had me, so they were in their late 20s, early 30s. And I think I was just barely in my career at that point, barely out of college. And I looked at my life and I thought, how did they raise kids? Because I'm certainly not ready for that. And now that I'm older and I think back to how old I was, and like at this point, I think I would have had an 8-year-old. And I have a lot to teach a kid, but like, you're not perfect. So I think give your parents a break. That's not to sort of excuse them, especially if there was any form of neglect or abuse. But if they made mistakes here and there, or they made some bad decisions, they're just human. And on some levels, the soul contract was so that we could experience some of those mistakes. So when you forgive them and when you forgive yourself, you can move on and you can have healthier adult relationships. That's kind of the message that I've got there. So there you go. And I would say also with forgiveness, forgive yourself. I'm a recovering sort of perfectionist, where I used to think everything had to be a certain way. And when I realized that coming to this planet is never really about perfection, it's about integration, understanding, and really kind of getting into that energy of love. One of the highest forms of love is forgiveness. So if you do that, you're leveling yourself up a little bit in a way that really does matter. Okay, let's do a quick review. A lot of times when I review, I'll see new threads of meaning. And then we're going to get into the second part of the reading, which focuses on how we can do the healing, how we can focus on the forgiveness. And now we have some areas that we can look at when it comes to the family. We'll look at past, present, and future. All right, so things don't matter. I'm going to restate some of these in fewer words. It's not the stuff, it's not the title, it's not the accomplishment. When you leave the planet, that stuff goes away. You carry the love in your heart, you carry the memories that you made, and the relationships carry through. That's what the whole soulmate search is all about, right? It's like, oh, that was so good in the past. Maybe I can find something like that. Or I'll just go back to that person again and we'll figure it out from a different angle. So you definitely take the relationships and the love with you. So focus on that. That's what matters. If you're feeling overwhelmed or like things are too much, then the message from the universe is to just let go of the baggage, whatever that baggage might be, whether it's emotional baggage, psychological baggage, or if it's literally having too much stuff or carrying things because maybe you had an aunt, uncle, mom, dad, whatever that said, when I die, you better keep that silverware. Trust me, they're not going to haunt you on the other side. And if they are, there's a way to release that energy. Do what you need to do. The fork that you have in your hand is not going to be the only connection you have to your mom or dad. All right. And then more importantly, focus on who's alive. That's what matters. Today matters. Who's with you today, and really heal those relationships as well. Pass on the torch. It doesn't matter if you're 8 or 88. It's really important to look at the bigger picture. First of all, you want the rest of your life to be better. And part of that is to just have a worldview. That's what we were looking at here. Go beyond your life, your present situation, and think about other people. And that's going to help you. It's, another word for that is empathy, but it also is just looking at a planetary healing. And that's, I believe, why what happened happens. You know, a lot of times I get questions from clients or just friends. Why is there a pandemic right now? On a cosmic scale, it's creating an emotional and a psychological and a psychic shift in the planet. There's a lot of pain that's associated with this, and that doesn't negate the pain, but it does give a larger context to what might be happening. Kindness and patience, really, really important for you, for your soul, for growth. Here's how you can get into that energy. Celebrate what's happening. It doesn't matter if everyone can't be there. You're the only one that you're doing this for at the end of the days. You know, I think that sometimes we have this feeling that, you know, okay, so there's a key to heaven, and, you know, someone's going to judge your heart and your soul. Those were just sort of ways of looking at it. You're the one that weighs your heart against that feather to decide how willing or worthy you are to kind of go to the next level. You're the one that opens the keys to the next dimension. And so you're your own judge, because God works through you. So if you are at peace in this sort of energy of joy and realizing your accomplishments right here and right now, then the life review is happening. You don't have to die to learn. So get into that energy of your life review every day. You're going to be okay. There's a lot of energy around relationships, but the message from the cosmos is take a step or 2 or 3 back, because the 6 of Swords is touching all of the people cards here. So the people don't matter, you matter. Look at your heart. Where are you at? How do you feel? Take a step back. Look at why everything has been put on pause for you, or why you're feeling like you're being held back from accomplishments, from the next goal, from the next phase. Take that old outline of who you are and what you're supposed to do and just rip it up. It doesn't matter anymore. Write something new. Write a new ending to your story. It's not too late. It's never too late. There's some sort of a maturity gap or delta that needs to be fixed between you and someone that's key relationship in your life. Be patient. Give them time. Let them grow. Let them figure it out. If you're a parent, it could be your child, and you just have to kind of like give them room to fail or succeed on their own merits. Then you can put that energy of maternal or paternal instinct towards yourself, towards developing your own life. I know people get frustrated with my readings because it's not all about, you know, oh, he's going to leave you or she's coming in. That's a different type of reading. I focus on the soul, because if you figure out who you are, you're not going to need me to help you with your relationships. The most important thing is to know yourself. Then when you meet other people, you're attracting higher energies, and you're going to be able to sort out if you want them in your life. There is an ability this month to have a relationship and to call in love. It's a very strong energy because we have Empress and Hierophant. So there's a stubbornness here. And there's also perhaps one partner that has a way of doing things, even if they haven't maybe learned as much as you or have as many years under the belt as you. So there's a little bit of challenge to kind of work through. So give them time, give yourself time, see if you still want to be in that relationship. I don't see you guys necessarily breaking up, but I see separation or distance being important towards healing and understanding. Queen of Wands in reverse, focus on managing your life. This is the quintessential management card. I like her on some levels even more than the King of Wands, because she's more in touch with what's going on. There's more fertile energy with the Queen than the King. So anything you touch this month, you have the Midas touch with it. That's why we have the 8 of Pentacles. Just make a choice to really focus on what matters, and don't worry about fixing everyone else in your life. That's why I keep saying, let this kid or this lover or this friend of yours come to you and ask for help. You don't have to do it. In fact, it's better because it puts you in a position of them needing to come to you, not you sort of cheating them of a chance to grow. The reason that it's important to kind of really have a handle on your energy is look at all of the stuff that wants to come through. With the Magician card, you have great potential this month. Save it for what matters. Don't be afraid to look at what you don't like. It's going to inform you. That's part of the research phase. So if you've had some failures or some frustrations, learn from them and create some sort of a new outline. The Hierophant's a very organized card, as is the Queen of Wands, as is the Empress. So I can see, Libra, your energy going towards that need for a master sort of organized plan to make it happen. You'll get there. It just may take a while. It actually might take a couple of months, or the 8 of Pentacles can be also like 8 weeks. Don't force it. We saw right here when it came to money and wealth and career, easy does it. Take your time. Literally, the card says that. And no need to hurry or force things. So don't. Take your time. It'll be better. When we look at your health, love yourself, love others. Forgiveness is going to be key. A universal message for all signs this month is to move a little bit more because of all the stationary cards. Hanged Man literally is a plateau or lack of movement. So anything that you can do to move physically will also help energetically shift things forward. I'm taking a pause to realize, like, the only Cups card we got was the King of Cups. So it really is focused on yourself. I'm not seeing as much energy in relationships. So it's personal development, personal healing, forgiving others. But I really do think the message is introspective this month. Again, a common theme that I've seen over the course of the past few months for many signs. Cosmic timing was another message here. So ask the universe for an undeniable sign, a big sort of clear signal that this is what you should be doing. As I look at this the second or third time, one other message that comes through is you don't have to hold the weight of the world on your back. This is someone where I see a lot of energy, a lot of people, and it seems like they're somehow trying to integrate or to heal all of that. Just like I was talking about that character in the movie, you don't have to use your energy to make others better. You channel, you help, you can offer insight, but try to conserve. Instead, breathe life into what it is you're trying to create, what you want to become. Forgiveness. I believe this was actually one of the messages I had for one of the signs this month. I wrote it down in a channeled message, and I even mentioned the old Don Henley song. It's really, really important to understand who you are, look at other people, empathize with their path. They're not perfect, neither are you. And you're not, it's interesting that we have a symbol here of God. You don't have to judge. Let the divine do that. It's not our role. It's so much easier when you let go of that, because suddenly you don't feel the obligation or the frustration to try to bring someone into the right path. In fact, that's kind of inverse of what it is. We're here, even a teacher, you can only teach if someone wants to learn. You can try to open the key, you can try to help them see it, but if they're not willing to receive the message, give them time. They'll come back either in this life or another when that message is ready to be received. Okay? Good. Let's focus now on healing and forgiveness. We're going to look at past, present, and future messages with respect to that, with a special lens towards family when I look at the deep past. Page of Pentacles. Love this card. This is really about understanding your own value. And it's a decision this month to possibly look for kind of doing something that you've always wanted to do. This is an investment card, and we haven't seen any other pentacles. Yep, this is except the Eight of Pentacles, so no other court cards with that. So for you, this is about being bold, deciding, you know what, I'm going to take what I've learned or take what I want to do and put it into something. And I think that this is your chance now to really decide that this is the right time and the right place to make it happen. So if you've ever wanted to go back to school, if you've ever wanted to invest in a business, for those of you that might be thinking of proposing to someone, that's even possibility with this. But it's deciding I'm going to take this energy and put it here. So your planning this month may lead you to that. The Page of Pentacles can also kind of go back to when you were a kid, and it's at that formidable age. I'm looking at age 8 or 10, when you may have had an alternate sort of reality or trajectory for yourself. You get to go and honor that if you want to right now. So invest within yourself. Trust in your own abilities. It's going to help. And, we didn't really see a family member involved with that. So this is a decision that you have what it takes to move forward. All right, so this is where we're at now in the present. The Devil card is a limiting card. It's scary because we see this, big creature in the background. And then normally we would see two lovers in the front that are bound by chains. So when I see this, I look at love that has conditions, or that situations where you're only able to do something because it's either required of you or suggested, or because there's money attached to it. So take a look at necessary evils at this period in your life. Are you in a relationship because you're relying on that person financially? Is there something in your life that you're doing because you're afraid to look at something else? So maybe you're self-medicating because it scares you to kind of go into the energy of realization. Maybe you're just feeling stuck in a part of your life, and taking that first step feels very frightening because you're afraid of what it could be. To me, the Devil comes through in tarot, not to hurt you, but to show you you've got to fix some things, you've got to change some things, because you don't want to stay here. So it's a helpful card, scary image, but helpful card. So start to cut conditional relationships in your life. Unfortunately, some of them are always going to be conditional. Like if you're working for a company, you work, you get paid, and your boss and you have this certain sort of relationship. But there should be other things. Are you receiving a sense of fulfillment? Are you learning things? Is it bringing you down a path that makes you happier? In friendships, the same energy goes in. Are you always the one paying? Are you always the one calling? Is there something that, can be evened out or worked out a little bit? Just look at reciprocity this month and see, where can I make it feel like it's just a little bit more fluid? And I think things will be better if you do that. Again, devil can also be limiting thoughts or feelings. So believing that you can't do something or won't do something can be a part of that. So based on what I've seen today, you can do something, you should do something. Some of you might decide to go back to school or learn something new or go into business or work for yourself. There's a personal investment that's coming through. Easy does it with the Temperance card here in the future. And I always look at a springtime sort of energy with this card. We even see the crocus here. So looking at Northern Hemisphere, that's more like April. And for those of you that are in Australia and other parts of the world, you can do the math and figure out when spring is. But this kind of has an energy of spring for you. And I would say things should start to shift and change for you around that period. But what I like about Temperance, you notice 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's taking the first step. So the way to get rid or neutralize the devil card, that card rather, is to start to take a step in the right direction. Simply having the curiosity or the desire to be happier, to do better, to make a change. I talked about this in the last reading, actually. And we got a little bit of that with the reward card here. The moment that everything changes is not when you receive a diploma, your retirement, a ring on your finger. It's the moment that you decide, I want to go for this. It's the beginning. And this card is reminding you it's also the journey itself that matters. And this card is about taking the first step, just putting your foot in the water and deciding, let me try it. I'm not going to get too excited. I'm not going to get too nervous. I'm just going to see where this takes me. And that also supports the energy that we saw within Easy Does It. So when I look at wealth is career, it's self-worth, it's changing things and moving them forward. So if you failed at something before, a relationship, a job, self-improvement, don't sit in this energy of beating yourself up. It will not help. In fact, it will cement. It's interesting that we really see like a coffin with this one. It will actually hold you in that energy of not moving forward. So the way to get out of it is to just try again. Dust yourself off and try again. To quote a 90s song, I think it was maybe it was 2000s. So yes, this is a chance to just give it a second go, take a first step, and it takes a while. It's a season of beginnings. Spring doesn't happen all at once. You start to see, and it's nice that we see a crocus. A lot of times snow is everywhere, and that's the first flower that will come through in many places is a crocus. So sometimes you'll see that pushing through the snow, and it's like, it can't be spring yet. It's around the corner. So that's an auspicious sign that one step forward will create that growth, and it's going to bring the season of spring and summer in your life symbolically, irrespective of which hemisphere you are. You've got to kind of look higher than the hemispheres here. So that's what I see as a new springtime in your life. And that's what we're going to meditate on next. We're going to bring the energy of spring and creation into your life. So we had a very powerful reading today. I could tell because there was basically, I was riddled with visions for about 5 hours this morning. So I'm glad it came through, and I hope you received the healing energy. Before we get into the meditation, I know that a lot of people will drop off. I'd love for you to stick around. There's no excuse. It's a weekend. If you are going to pause or whatever, please consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss a future reading. Otherwise, let's get into the energy of spring and creation. And let's bring some healing in. I'm going to be using a singing bowl in a moment as well. And I just want to say thanks. All right, everybody, if you could get seated, I would love for you just to close your eyes, take a deep breath. And if you're feeling like there's something that you want to let go of, fear, anxiety, if you just feel like you're holding a lot of energy and tension in your shoulders, I want you to breathe a couple of times and really kind of push it out. You can Google this later. There's something called breath of fire. it's basically a rapid inhale and exhale in your stomach, and you pump the energy out. We're just going to do a couple deep breaths, and we're going to push the energy away. So take a deep breath. Imagine that you're pulling the sunlight through your top crown chakra. And as you breathe in, feel the energy fill your entire body up. Really breathe in deeply, not a shallow breath. Do it again if it was too shallow. On the exhale, I want you to push the energy out and say like enough. Or a true breath of fire, almost as if you are a dragon. You're going to destroy all of the conditional energy, all of the chains, all of the limits, all of the ghosts around you that have been haunting you. This is a chance to clear it away, to torch it away, to just exist in your own energy, your own strength, and to get rid of that stuff. Another breath. Enough is enough. Inhale. Exhale through your mouth, imagining this beautiful, bright white light that's clearing everything in its path. Relax your posture. Let your neck be released from any sort of tension by gently moving it in both directions. Easy does it, slow. And if you can't do it, you can just gently rock it from side to side and just kind of loosen out some of that tension. Doing the same with your shoulders, stretching a little bit if you need to, and then relaxing. I want you to picture yourself walking through a forest, and imagine that it is just before the springtime, right around springtime. You can still see some snow-capped trees and mountains, and you can feel a brisk breeze as you're starting to walk through the forest. And I want you to take a moment to look around at all the trees. Maybe even you see some icicles on the trees, and it's sort of like that midway point. You know that it should be warmer than it is, but there's winter that still seems to be holding on. And you're walking out just as the sun is rising. So the sky is starting to it's painted with these colors of tangerine and orange and that same white light that you were breathing out just a moment ago. Take a moment and pause and look at the ground around you. Most of it's barren. Some of it still has clumps of snow. And as you find a place to sit down, maybe a rock that's dry, you sit down, lean against the tree. You notice that there is some flowers, some wildflowers. Maybe it is a crocus that's starting to push through the ground and pushing through the permafrost, and it's starting to show that, hey, there is life, there is something here that I want to see, that I want to give to the world. Close your eyes and connect with that little tiny flower that you see beside you. And I want you to, just like the bulb beneath the soil that's been nurturing and growing and creating this potential energy that's now being realized in the form of the flower and these little tiny leaves, I want you to find that energy within your soul. Take a deep breath and know that every experience that you've gone through in your life is kind of like a bulb. If you ever splice open a bulb, or an onion for that matter, you'll notice that just like the rings on a tree, each year, each day of that plant's life has created a layer, a sort of shell that's going to give it life and insight. We do the same thing with our soul. It becomes dense over time. Sometimes, like what we're doing today, it's important to integrate and pull that in a little bit so that we don't feel so dense, that we actually appreciate each ring of our soul's life has created who we are today, and it makes us strong. And the more rings that we have, the bigger the flower, the bigger the plant. Just as if those of you that have ever planted something like an amaryllis, the bigger that bulb is, the more chance that you'll have 2 or 3 blossoms coming out of it. So I want you to imagine what your energy would look like if it were to flower and grow. It doesn't have to be so literal. You could imagine what you want to create with it. What's going to come out of your soul space, all this energy that you've created? Is it a book? Is it a relationship? Is it your own body changing if you're trying to work on personal health and well-being? Is it being able to channel energy like we saw with the magician card so that you can be a healer? Whatever your goal, whatever your journey is, I want you to start to gently see this coming from your heart space. So we did that breath of fire a moment ago. Now I want you to push the energy out of your heart and imagine that it's flowering or growing and pushing out that new vision of your life or your new future into the environment around you. Listen to the singing bowl as we do that, seeing your dream become a reality and feeling it, mind, body, and spirit, how it's going to be in that future state. So we're going into your own sort of blossoming energy as we breathe. All right, take a deep breath. And before we go any further, I want you to look around at the forest around you and start to see that your energy is starting to bring a sense of growth and light. And just like the sun above you, you're starting to thaw off the forest around you. Light and life is everywhere. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, I want you in your meditation to look at your new surroundings. See how the trees have started to sprout new growth. Bright green energy surrounds you, the energy of your heart. That's the true color of the heart. It's not red, it's not pink, it's green. The color of wealth, of healing, of abundance. It's all around your auric field. Bright green, actually. So bright that it's almost yellow in some places. This is new growth. This is new opportunity. This is you. And as you start to walk through the forest, with each footstep that you take, you notice green footprints behind you and a path that's being created. Forget the red carpet. You're creating this beautiful green carpet all around you as the forest starts to fill up with grass, with moss, with trees, and they all start to flower and give birth to the creative energy that you've just harnessed within your mind, body, and spirit. Take one last breath and appreciate who you are, who you've become, and gently open your eyes on the exhale. And yeah, we did a little healing energy for the earth as well because she needs it. So do something kind for yourself today. Do something kind for the planet. Go buy a flower or something. Obviously, I care a lot about plants, as you can see. And clean up the planet too. If you're walking outside today and you see some litter, put it in a bag and put that in the trash. Better yet, not a bag, because we're trying to reduce things, but just find a way to get rid of that litter. So anyway, thank you guys so much for showing up today. I'd like to take a moment to just express my appreciation. Part of the reason I show up is to pass on that torch. I used to talk about it a lot when I did recorded readings instead of the live readings, but I'm here to help spark other light workers out there to help you find your inner strength. And I hope that we did that today. I definitely felt a lot of transformative energy coming through. If you want to join me on social media, I'd love for you to do that. I'm on all the major social media platforms. My username on Facebook and YouTube is the same. It's at Nicholas Ashbaugh, no spaces, no words before it. And the same username on Patreon. Patreon is a way that you can give back. And if you would like to join this channel, you can do that as well. Subscribing is a free way to say thank you. And I noticed that a lot of times nobody subscribes when I do these live videos. So if you liked it, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. You're not going to get spammed with emails. Only if you click the bell are you going to get a ton of emails. So that's a choice. If you don't want to miss a live reading, it'll actually email you and let you know. So that's a great way to keep in the know. Another way that you can keep up to date with what's going on is by joining me on Instagram. It's Nicholas_Ashbaugh. And I use stories just like Facebook there to remind you. Twitter, it's @Ashbaugh. And that's everything. If you want to go to my website, all the information for how to contact me, whether it's for a reading or if you want to find out what deck I'm using in a particular spread, you can get that information there. It's nicholasashbaugh.com. All my social media handles are there as well. Thanks again for everyone that did do a super chat. I will send a thank you afterwards on by putting a little post on the replay version. And if you want to use PayPal instead, you can just go to paypal.me/Nicholas Ashbaugh, or again, all of this is on my website. Thank you so much, Maria and Ryan, and for those of you that are still doing super stickers and super chats, thank you for that little unicorn at the end. I appreciate it. Much love from me to you. Remember to be kind to yourself. And I would say this month, think of somebody in your life. We really focus more on the energy of creation and self-healing in that meditation. But if there's someone in your life that you've been giving a lot of thought to, just kind of send a healing vibe towards them, that same green energy that we were doing, and say, I wish for you love and abundance in all forms. The same for me. It may not be the two of us together, but that can be part of your mantra as well. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Much love from me, and also Apollo, who fell asleep during our meditation back there. Hope you guys are doing well. Always a pleasure and an honor to be present for you. Let's see, it's Sunday. I'll be back. Actually, I'll have to check the schedule. Everything's on my schedule. I'm off tomorrow, but I'll be back later this week. So go to my website for more tune-in information. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.